So what we're going to do here is we're going to watch Ohdough's video about Constitution, the marksman rifle that they added to the game. So we're going to go over this. I think that a lot of the times he has really good points, but people just kind of get upset about whatever he says. And I truly do believe that anybody can express any kind of opinion, right? Like there's nothing wrong with expressing an opinion. Once again, a lot of the times Ohdough has a lot of good points, man. I'm going to move my camera here. My apologies. Give me 1 second. Boom. Face cam. Let's move it up here. He's very direct with some of the things that he says, so I'm guessing that that's what kind of pisses people off a lot of the times. But regardless, that doesn't mean that he can't be right about some subjects. So I would love to hear his thoughts about the Constitution rifle. And guys, don't forget to go to Ohdough's channel and make sure to show some love, okay? Drop a sub, drop a like on the videos, all the good stuff. The link to his channel is going to be in the description as well.
Concurrent player count in the past 3 months was on Liberty Day, where we got Constitution and new armor. I feel like that being the case, it's not really a good idea to give us a ceremonial weapon that's meant to be bad, which is what players keep saying. If you'd given it heavy pin, it still wouldn't be crazy good. In fact, it wouldn't even be good, probably. It'd just be
I agree with that, actually. Like, I agree, because I think that heavy pen on this weapon, like, and there is literally a example right here, right behind me. I'm going to move the camera here so you guys can see it, right? But you can clearly see, man, like, let's move it over here, I guess. You can clearly see that it's actually worse than the Senator. Now, you guys remember everybody was kind of going crazy when the Senator got the heavy, armor penetration. Everybody was like upset about it. They were like, oh my God, Senator is going to deal damage to heavy targets now. That's going to be overpowered. But is it really overpowered? I don't think so. So if you follow that, now that I look at it, right, look, Senator even has more damage, more ammo capacity, recoil is the same, and it has better fire rate as well, and the reload is pretty much better, right? Because you can now like fully reload it. I mean, the Senator. So do I think this would have been OP if this had heavy armor pen? No. And if you're trying to celebrate something that was really loved in the other game, I think giving it heavy pen makes more sense than not giving it heavy pen, right? But let's listen to Ohdough here. I want to hear his thoughts further.
Objectively more fun to use. Look at the Senator. That has heavy pen now. It's fun to use. Not overpowered. Maybe in terms of sidearms, technically. But realistically, who's going to sit there and use Senator only? A few people. For fun.
That was my point as well. Like when they buffing Senator, I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. But are you going to be really sitting there and like, going crazy and spamming the Senator across the board? I don't think so. I don't think that will be the case. Like that was always my outlook on it. And I think that's how it ended up being, right? Like, even though it does have heavy pen, is it like overwhelmingly overused? And does it feel like overpowered? Absolutely not. It feels good though. And as he said, it's fun. So right now, until this part of the video, I pretty much agree. I don't think he's saying anything wrong here.
So claiming Constitution's a challenge weapon is kind of ironic. One-shot warriors. Wilbur's getting stopped across the map. It's a problem. Out of ammo. So the iron sights would be better if I had a better PC.
Okay, I think here he's just testing. So we're gonna move forward where he actually discusses the weapon.
I'm not disappointed. I kind of expected it to be like that.
Yeah, you can't be disappointed if your expectations are already on the floor.
Yeah, at this point, you kind of know what's going to happen with weapons.
Oh, damn.
It's whatever. It's whatever. Primaries that don't do anything, they're not really fun for me to use. Let's be honest. Who gets excited for a primary weapon that can't really kill much?
I agree to that point to some extent, where like, if a primary is completely useless, you're simply not going to be using it. Like, there's many examples of that in the game already. Like, if you take the ARs, they're extremely underused compared to some of the other weapons in the game. Now, why is that? It's because they're not good at what they're supposed to be doing, which is killing enemies. So why would you use something that can't kill enemies when you have something that kills enemies way better, way more efficiently? And let's be honest, man, like, this is a horde shooter. What do you want to do in a horde shooter? You want to take out hordes. You want to get as many kills as possible, right? So if the weapon can barely do that, and it's not just about like it being able to kill, but if I'm always finding myself reloading, out of ammo, reloading, out of ammo, supplies, out of ammo, reloading, is that really fun? When we're talking about the challenge part of the Constitution, if the whole, conversation is that, oh, it was never supposed to be good because it was supposed to make the game harder, just pick up some other weapon that is already not so good. You see my point? For example, when I wanted the challenge, what did we do? We went in and we fought on the highest difficulty without using a single weapon. We just used stratagems, or the other way around on stream.
A lot of people. Not me, though. Not me. This particular gun is made to be bad, like for challenge runs. You can just use other guns that already are terrible.
That's what I said.
Challenge runs.
The whole concept of making things bad for challenge is crazy. They can just make weapons good and then add options to make runs more challenging by like having difficulty sliding.
Player selected modifiers.
Yeah, basically.
Increased chargers, increased battle titans. Someone said that recently and it was a good idea. I liked it a lot. It's there for who think the game is too easy. No, it's there because people accept it. The reason why that gun is going to be really bad is because folks will make up excuses for why it's bad and not just say, man, this gun's not that good. Why can't we have better guns? That's why. I
think Helldivers players, their expectations are so low, they kind of just accept anything.
It's not expectations. They've just changed their way of thinking, I believe. Because they've been told to think a certain way since the game came out, and now they do. Now they're always making excuses that make no sense.
I don't think it's just the Helldivers 2 community. I think this is a thing in gaming in general. I really do. Like, there's a part of the community that always enjoys anything the game provides for them, and then there's a community that never enjoys anything the game provides for them, and then there's somebody in the middle who says, this is good, this is bad, right? And usually the people that say, oh, this is good and this is bad, which mostly is always the truth. It's always in the middle. It's never white on black, right? It's not like that. You say that and then people say, oh, you're sitting on the fence. You don't want to sit. But that's the truth. It's never like 100% on one side. Not just in Helldivers 2, but in life too. There's always two sides to a story. It's like one of those things where I don't think that they've been told to think that way or anything. It's just that in gaming in general, the bar is pretty low, right? Like if you take a look at some of the big names out there, like the AAA companies, like putting out games or new content, like you take Destiny 2, for example, bro, the amount of revamped content that Destiny 2 has had is probably record breaking. I'm not even joking. My dudes literally took out a whole, listen, they went ahead and they told the community, we are sunsetting tons of weapons and gear that people hunted for and like collected for months and years. And they were like, we need to sunset these items for the game to feel better in the future. They took away all those items from people. And then a few years later, they reintroduced all of those items back into the game and everybody was happy and took it like new content. So the bar is so low, right, that it's almost impossible to, drop it lower. So when something happens, people are happy about it because they've been used to just low quality content. Now, am I saying that the Constitution is low quality content? No, I think that the gun actually feels pretty good. I think that it's fun to use for me personally. The warriors get like absolutely destroyed, all that stuff. But being fun to use and being effective and a good gun and a good addition to a game is something different. They're two things apart, right? So it's okay to say the weapon can be fun, but it's also okay to say that it's a shit weapon when it comes to the higher difficulty of the game. Like if you're asked, oh, you need to clear, the super hell dive as efficiently as possible. What is it? You can't tell me this is going to be the first weapon that comes to your mind. It's simply not going to be that. You know what I mean? So it's okay to say that. It's okay to point that out as well. And at the same time, it's okay to have fun with it if you enjoy the weapon. Like that's the reality. I don't think it's somewhere on one side or the other. Just my thoughts.
They're the ones that make up random excuses out of thin air. Like they'll just say, well, it's for this reason, even though they have no idea. And that's why we see the prevalence of skill issue, get good, lore being used to justify terrible mechanics time and time again. And then meanwhile, folks will say, oh, lore means you can't change this. If the point was to make a...
Well, I agree with that. And in a way disagree with that, but not in Helldivers 2. So for example, there can be differences. If you take Helldivers 2, I don't think the lore, as Ohdough says here, can justify some of the mechanics that simply do not work, right? Like if you take the bot side and how, spammy or how just unfairly designed they are, that has nothing to do with lore. That's purely design decisions made by the devs, which they already are talking about and they're fixing. Like you can't come to me and say, oh, we're getting ragdolled because it's in the lore, right? Those are two different things. Look at the like and dislike ratio, right? It's 10 to 1 pretty much, right? So it's like, his community agrees. So you got a bunch of people that agree. Like if nobody agreed with him, this dislike ratio would be much higher. People obviously do agree with him. There's a lot of shit that he says that is right. Because he's Ohdough, people just, oh, this guy's negative. Yeah, but it's his thoughts. So why don't we listen? For no matter who's saying anything, let's say I say something, right? Some of it could be stupid, but there might be something that you take away from it. Even if you don't like me, you could be like, oh, you know what? Like Pip's ideas, I don't like his ideas, but there was this one idea that was good. I think that's how we should approach it. Like, listen to Ohdough, take away the good stuff. And if we disagree, that's fine. We can agree to disagree. We're grown-ups. You know what I mean?
A cosmetic weapon as a celebration tool. Why not just make a cape instead of a weapon in that case? Like, who wants a weapon that doesn't do damage? We already have...
I agree.
More than half the primaries that are like that don't do damage. A Constitution rifle is a challenge gun from Helldivers 1, meant to be for those who feel that the game is too easy or those who wish to challenge themselves.
I don't agree with that.
What is a challenge in using... We already have guns that are terrible. You can just use a plethora of guns that are bad. Now we just have one more.
I mean, I knew they weren't going to give it heavy pen. Like, as soon as I heard they're adding a bolt sniper, I'm like, okay, it's going to be bad because they're not going to give it heavy pen because they're super stingy with that. So it's like, it's not going to be good.
Well, to be honest,
I think heavy pen, they could decrease durability a little bit maybe, but heavy pen in the current state, it still wouldn't be insane. It'd just be a weapon you could use to kill more things. And I think that's more of a challenge rather than having a cosmetic primary weapon in the first place. It's weird how the Senator can do heavy pin, which is good. It feels fun. It feels challenging to use, 6 shots. But the Constitution can't do heavy pin. Doesn't it do less damage than Senator in the first place? It's like 180 versus 200.
See, that's what I'm saying, right? Like his friend, I don't know the name, so I'm sorry. But he says, I didn't expect them to do heavy pen. But they already gave heavy pen to a secondary. And we already saw, literally, this secondary is better than this gun. Fire rate is better. Damage is better. Capacity is better. Reload's better. The only thing that is not going to be better is the ammo economy, because the ammo economy on the Constitution is really good. If you had given it the heavy pen, I think it would have been perfect.
And it's got 5 rounds that reloads slower because you don't get like a fast reload like the revolver does. See, that's where like the common sense just goes out the window. Like that was an easy layup. It's like, okay, people love the Senator buff, felt good to use, not overpowered at all, engaging, challenging, good. All that stuff's awesome. Okay, guys, drop a new primary weapon, bolt action sniper, slow reload speed, low ammo count. Make it garbage. Medium pin.
A low ammo count. Overall, the ammo economy is actually pretty good. It's just per magazine, right? And if you're trying to throw in a bolt rifle like that one, like old school, I mean, you can't give it like 37 shots in the mag. So I agree why, I understand why they did that. I don't have an issue with that specifically.
And the players will defend it.
I see the problem. If you played the first game, the description says it's ineffective because it's a service rifle.
I just don't get how these people, the game's about 6 months. We've had the same cycle happen time and time again now. Actually. People defend a pretty not great thing in the game. And they do it in the goofiest way possible. A question that folks are going to ask themselves in the chat right now by Helldivers 2. If it wasn't for folks that defended every action that Helldivers 2 made, do you think the game would be better off or worse off right now?
Better. There's no denying that. There's no denying that, right? I think that accountability in general, not in gaming alone, but in life, accountability is everything. If you take any service in the world, not just game design, game creation, whatever it is, right? The reality is when you're ordering a product, when you're paying for a product, you expect the best of the best product, right? And the gaming has become one of these spaces lately where you do order a game or you pay for a game and then you get something that is not good and people are okay with it. Like, that's what I think. And I think that it shouldn't be held any different from any other profession out there. So I really don't want to sit here and hear, oh my God, it's so hard to create a game. You know, it's the hardest thing in the world, because the reality is it's not. It would be the same if I sat here and I told you streaming is the hardest job in the world. Does it take time to get used to it? Does it get time to get better at it? Does it take time to master your craft? Yes. Guess what? Same with any other craft that exists in the world. It takes hours upon hours, hundreds, maybe thousands and thousands, but eventually you get better. But to say that this is the hardest job or whatever, and then when something goes wrong with a video game, they come out and they're saying, oh, you know what? People don't understand how hard it is to make a video game. I'm sorry, I don't care. Because if I go to a store and I'm trying to buy whatever it is, I order a custom-made bicycle, and that bicycle is delivered to my house, and then it's not good. And if I go back to that guy and tell him, yo, what the fuck is this, bro? I ordered this and this and this. It was supposed to work like this and this. And he goes, I'm sorry, man. You know, I can't do anything about it. It was too hard to make. You'd grab that bicycle and shove it up his ass.
Maybe actually, because I think if people weren't defending it and people like were pushing back against the devs' actions a lot more, I think maybe the devs would have taken more actions faster. Because the only reason we even got the 60
it's because of backlash
was because of the exactly. But I think if like people pushed back from the devs from day one, I think we would have gotten a lot more now than the moment.
Because they wouldn't be spending all this time making bad changes and then trying to fix their bad changes. They'd actually just make good changes out the gate.
While I do agree with that in a way, I think that another problem right now with gaming is that a lot of these companies have turned balancing into content, bro. And that, personally, I don't like it. I think that balancing, if a game needs balancing, it should be done on the back end. And that's cool that the devs are doing it. I agree with it. It has to be done, obviously, to make the game feel much better. But I don't think that it should be pretty much put out there like new content. Because essentially, it's not. It's... If something is wrong with the game... Yo, ADV with the 5! Oh, so yeah, look, the goal works. Pips, big dub right now, says ADV. Thank you so much for the 5, brother. I appreciate the love. Thank you so much.
But we still have players that defend actions that don't need defending. You can just say, like, this wasn't a good choice. There's no need to be mean about it, but just say, like, this wasn't a good choice. Got a little anchor biter. I was watching Barnyard.
I agree.
That movie made me cry twice in the car. The part with, like, Otis and Ben, so Otis's dad... Both parts got me. I was like, that hits way too deep.
Cheers, chat.
These children don't even know yet. You know, I just learned this today. Apparently, Fairlife milk, the Fairlife protein shakes, the reason why they taste so good.
Okay, now we're off track here. You gotta listen. You gotta take away the good stuff. You disagree, you shake hands, you move on. That's all it is. I just think that Ohdough just says whatever he thinks he says. Whatever he thinks, he just says it. That's it. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't. Let's go! Let's go, baby! Let's go! I mean, we literally have the best community of all time. Oh! Oh, he got no scoped.